All right, welcome everyone to our Ask Bucky Unfiltered webcast here at Campus and Visitor Relations. My name is Janan. I'm one of the Special Projects interns, and I'm excited to have on with us this week three guests from the Office of Admissions and Recruitment. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'll start. My name is Emily Bricks and I am a freshman admissions counselor with the Office of Admissions and Recruitment here at UW-Madison. In addition to being a freshman admissions counselor, I'm also the coordinator for the Connections program on campus, which works with students who eventually transition to campus after starting at one of our approved partner institutions and still obtaining their degree from UW-Madison.
Awesome. My name is Miki, and I'm also a freshman admissions counselor with the UW-Madison Office of Admissions and Recruitment. I work specifically on the Wisconsin Initiatives team, and I also am a former campus tour guide, so very excited to be back with CAVR for this fun event. And yes, Sarah, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm an international admissions counselor here with UW-Madison. I also work with a bit with deferred enrollment and formerly worked for SOAR as my time on campus.
Awesome. So since you all are actually UW alumni, we wanted to hear a little bit about what is your favorite part of campus and why is it your favorite part?
Yeah, so I can start. My favorite part of campus would be the terrace. I think it's absolutely beautiful, such great views, and I highly recommend it during sunset.
I, like Sarah, have a strong connection to the Wisconsin unions. I'm going to give a shout out to Union South. I obviously worked there when I was a tour guide because that's where CAVR is out of, so I love spending time there. But it also is home to the Marquee Theater. I was in the Wisconsin Union Directorate Film Committee, so I spent a lot of my time watching movies there and having meetings with Wood as well.
All right, that leaves me. I would say my favorite part about campus was probably Helen C. White Library, also called College Library. It is right next to the Memorial Union, so if you're still wanting to enjoy a lake view, but you really got to hit the books, that's your place to go. It was also where I took a large amount of my coursework as an English major, so I was there a lot for classes, office hours, but it was also a great spot in the library if you needed to meet up for a group project. There's collaborative spaces, or if you needed complete silence, there were silent sections, multiple different floors, computer labs, printing, everything you could really need.
Yeah, that's definitely a good resource at the library there. For me, as a current student on campus, to be a little bit different from the more of that side of campus, I really enjoy Henry Mall. I'm a biochemistry major, so I spend a lot of my time in the Henry Mall area there. But it has a pretty view where you can see Camp Randall from the edge there, and also we have some pretty nice buildings, so I have a lot of nice study space. All right, so I think a lot of the questions that our followers kind of had, and also I'm sure you've all been getting, is what is happening with admissions at UW with the COVID-19 pandemic. So do you all want to talk a little bit about what has changed because of the pandemic and what has still remained the same?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can kick us off here. So a big question that we've been getting, especially from high school juniors that are looking to apply next year, is how we are going to be reviewing applications when we see those pass-fail grades, or just different ways in which different schools are wrapping up the school year from this past spring, and also even maybe into fall if there's going to be a different administration of instruction. So when we're looking at those grades, first and foremost, a lot of folks ask what is the most important part of the application, and we always come back to the transcript. So it's really important to see level of rigor based on what a school offers, as well as performance in the classes students take. So of course, that's going to be the most important part of the application. That being said, we are going to be really understanding when it comes to the way this last school year wrapped up. Of course, we are in a global pandemic. This has been such a hard time for so many people, and so many different schools, like I said, wrapped up in different ways. So when we are reviewing applications, we're going to be looking at the school profile that schools provide that tell us different things about the curriculum, as well as hopefully maybe provide some context about this past year. So hopefully that tells us, if it went to pass fail, if there was an option there, how their grading system might have changed, things like that. In addition to that, I also really highly recommend students really disclose whatever they would like to when it comes to context surrounding their performance. So if there was maybe a dip based on the change of administration, if there was a dip just based on emotional, financial things with the pandemic, definitely disclose that if you want to. We have an additional information section of the application. You can write about it in your essay, anything like that. We have a really holistic application review process, so that will be considered in the process. If you want your counselor to include anything in their letter of recommendation or anything, you are more than welcome to do so. Again, we are going to be also just generally understanding that there might be a dip in performance with this change. It's a really big change. So again, if you ever want to include anything else in your application, you are welcome to reach out to us via email, and that can even be added to your application file. Another really big question we've been getting is about our testing requirements for this next upcoming application cycle. So I can speak to that a little bit as well. As of right now, our testing requirements are remaining consistent for the next year. So we will be requiring either an ACT or an SAT score. This decision has been made by the leadership for our entire university, so our chancellor, in collaboration with our office. That being said, this was a decision made with the expectation that there would be lots of testing availability throughout the end of the summer into the fall. And so this is something that is being constantly evaluated with the ongoing situation. So as the situation progresses, I know there has been a recent announcement by the College Board that the SAT might have, different availability throughout the summer. So that is all being taken into consideration and constantly evaluated. If there is a change to this policy, it will be publicly announced, it'll be put on our website, and it'll also be emailed out to all of the prospective students on our email list. So if you want an email, I really recommend looking at our website. There's a section that says request for information, and you can put in your email, and then you would receive an email if we have a change to that policy. So I hope that kind of helps clear things up about this upcoming application cycle for those couple things.
Yeah, and just to kind of go off what Miki said, we've been getting a lot of students from international students specifically. I'm kind of looking again what this next year will look like. So we do have international students from 130 different countries, which total about 9% of our total undergraduate population. So a lot of different students coming from a lot of different curriculums. Again, to go off what Miki said, we will be understanding of the variety of different ways in which schools have decided to wrap up their semester. So whether that's a change in how boards are being evaluated or how different curricula's grading requirements are being handled, just note that we will be aware of that and we will be cognizant of that when reviewing applications. For international students specifically, we do have a really great web page that shows requirements for different curriculums that you're able to go to. And then for international students whose high school wasn't taught in English for all 4 years, we will require the TOEFL or IELTS, but we've also added the Duolingo English test as proof of English proficiency, which really helps to increase students have access and making sure that everyone is able to take that requirement as well.
And then I want to talk a little bit about the waitlist. So this is something that changes from year to year at UW-Madison, but has especially impacted this year with the coronavirus. Just between some students, disclosing that they feel more comfortable living closer to home or going to an institution with in-state tuition. This is something that changes every year. And so we ask for the students that are waitlisted, if you're interested in accepting a spot on the waitlist, you have to accept that spot on the waitlist. And there's opportunities to be brought up from the waitlist. First and foremost, we look at everything you would submit to us, sense them, but we really encourage our students who are on the waitlist to send us your mid-year, or in this case, if your school year is wrapping up, send us your final grades. That's what we're really wanting to see, how you wrapped up your academic performance of your senior year.
Awesome. That was a lot of information, but really helpful to know. And a lot of this can be found on your website too, if people want to look. Okay, cool. So that was a lot of the changes we talked about. Miki, you sort of started mentioning it in your response, but what part of the application overall has remained the same at UW?
Yeah, I'll kick this one off. So first and foremost, UW-Madison has a holistic review process. What that means is we don't have any minimums for GPA, test score. We truly look at every part of your application. And so first and foremost, as Miki mentioned, what we're really looking for is academic excellence. We're looking at your transcript. We're looking to see that you are taking advantage of the rigor offered at your school. So for some, this may be honors courses. For some, this might be advanced placement courses, international baccalaureate courses, or maybe some dual enrollment courses. Again, we don't ever punish the student, so we just look to see that you're challenging yourself across different breadth within your high school.
Okay. Yeah, I know myself when I was applying to schools my senior year, I appreciated the idea of the holistic process at UW. Kind of makes it not feel as competitive, I guess, when you're like trying to figure all that stuff out. So yeah, I think so. Speaking of me like coming to UW, I think I took the most common path of how I started my time at UW, which was I applied my senior year and got accepted and started the fall after I graduated. But what other ways can students, get their education from UW-Madison?
Yeah, I can kick this one off. As a former transfer student, I'll talk about transferring to UW-Madison. We're happy to welcome over 1,000 new transfer students every year, and that can be a really great pathway if students know that they want to end up at UW-Madison, but maybe want to stay closer to home at first, or just aren't sure exactly that UW-Madison is the place they want to be when first applying. So I definitely recommend checking that out if that's something you're interested in as well.
A program that's a little bit different, but similar to what Sarah mentioned with transfer is one that I help coordinate called the Connections Program. This works with students who are either accepted to UW-Madison and choose to start at UW-Madison a little bit later after their first or second years, or it's for students who are put on UW's waitlist with hopes to be brought up from the waitlist, but if not, they can select to go to one of our approved 16 partner institutions and then transition to UW. So something that's great about this program is that you're working with a coordinator, so myself, my supervisor, other resources at UW-Madison, and then you're working with your counselor at your partner institution. So it's listed on our website. If you just Google UW-Madison Connections Program, there's a drop down of all the institutions that are approved. So there's some four-year colleges that we partner with, and a lot of regional campuses as well. So I encourage you to check that out. And I will note that this is available to Wisconsin residents primarily.
Yeah, it's really awesome that we have those kind of like guaranteed transfer programs. There are just so many like flexible options that you can take to get your degree at UW-Madison, but have a lot of freedom early on. And something I also like to give a shout out to is one of my favorite things when I go to college fairs is talking to like younger siblings or students that are just really getting like a head start on things that are like freshmen in high school. And so there are a lot of students that are eager to learn more about UW-Madison early on, even before they're at the age that they're going to be applying. So I always recommend to these students to check out our pre-college programs. So there's a really good link. It's just precollege.wisc.edu. And there are programs from literally kindergarten all up through your senior year of high school where you can come explore campus over the summer. You can do different academic programs, whether they are for credit or not for credit, and you can just learn more about campus and a specific field and research and a lot of really cool things like that.
Yeah, I know that on our end in campus and visitor relations, we have the campus visit program. So we actually do some fun tours sometimes when those groups from the pre-college programs ask us to show kids around campus. And those have always been some of my favorite tours, like seeing little kids' faces light up, like seeing something you walk by all the time, like for the first time. So I think those are really cool opportunities. Well, thank you all so much for joining us on the Ask Bucky Unfiltered webcast. We upload these every Sunday, so be on the lookout for our episode next week. But thank you, Emily, Michaela, and Sarah for joining me today.
Thanks so much, Janan and CVR.
Bye.
Bye.